Modi government claims it has walked the Sabka Saath talk, turns economic status-based reservation dream into a reality just months ahead of the election in 2019.
कि जो गरीब हैं उन्हें आरक्षण मिले, ये जुमला तो उसमें डाला था.
Finance Minister Jaitley tears into the opposition's Jumla charge, accuses them of not doing enough to make quota based on economic status a reality.
Trinamool Congress being a political party who always take care of the unemployed youths which are being taken in West Bengal in a broader way, we cannot oppose any such bill.
And the opposition that call NDA's quota move a Jumla outside Parliament does a U-turn, backs the bill inside Parliament.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to The Clash. I'm Madhadas Gopalakrishnan, along with my colleague and co-anchor Athar Khan. Today, the issue that we are debating is the historical passage of the Quota Bill in the Lok Sabha that is currently underway even as we speak. Clause by clause, amendments are being voted upon, and in a few minutes, the final passage of the bill is awaited. The final passage of the bill just in a few minutes from now. I'm going to be arguing tonight that this is indeed historic and epoch-making.
And I'm going to be arguing that you've turned the absolute definition of social backwardness on its head and are now in contravention of what the framers and why the framers of the Constitution kept reservation in the Constitution in the first place. I'm also going to argue that all political parties have lost their spine on this one and will now just play politics on this. But first, the big question.
And here's the big question that we're debating this evening. Is the Quota Bill a game changer? Here's my submission on why it indeed is. Let's remember that this bill, which changes the criteria of reservation to economic backwardness, is a criterion that is being brought in by a constitutional amendment, which in itself is happening for the very first time. Remember, in the past, whenever it has been brought in by state governments, there have been various other forms, office memoranda, state assemblies that have passed these bills, state governments that have passed orders. It's the first time that a concrete constitutional amendment is being brought in, and that really in itself is a game changer. The very fact that opposition parties themselves, despite criticizing this bill, have come out to support it very clearly demonstrates not just the impact but also why this bill is going to be such an important game changer to our society.
जब उन्होंने अपने चुनावी घोषणा पत्र जारी किए थे तो अनरिजर्व्ड कैटेगरीज के जो गरीब हैं उन्हें आरक्षण मिले, ये जुमला तो उसमें डाला था.
मैं बहुत बार मांग करता था कि दलित समाज को आरक्षण मिला है, आदिवासी को मिला है, ओबीसी को मिला है, लेकिन सवर्ण समाज में जो इकोनॉमिकल बैकवर्ड क्लास के लोग हैं वो हमारी तरफ देखते थे. ये मुझे लगता है ये जो बिल है, ये बिल बहुत ही परिवर्तनवादी बिल है.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's not sugarcoat this. This is caste-based quota, couched in economic theory to make it sound and seem about socialism or a socialist principle. Coming barely 100 days before the polls, it is a desperate Hail Mary pass to appease the upper caste vote in India. Reservation or quota was kept in the Constitution by the framers for justice and social backwardness. The historically privileged upper class have never had to face untouchability in this country, social oppression or discrimination. There is no comparison between the historically disenfranchised like the Dalits and OBCs and the upper caste. Again, at the very last point, this is a pre-poll ploy, is transparently about appeasement of upper caste voters of the majority community and lacks any empirical evidence or data to back or justify it.
This bill is a fraud on the Constitution.
Okay.
This bill is an insult to Baba Sahib Ambedkar, because what was the original purpose of giving reservation was to give social justice, to reduce social educational backwardness.
The reservation the country requires for a social justice. You are so many schemes you are announced.
You're
watching the News Hour at 10. Debate number 1 on Times Now. Super Prime Time.
And joining us on the Clash tonight, Amit Malviya, spokesperson of the BJP, also with us Shubhrashtra. She's an author. Ashutosh Mishra, senior journalist and political analyst. And Rahul Chakrabarti is a political analyst with sympathies leaning towards the TMC. Madhav gets the first shot.
Well, Rahul Chakrabarti, let me begin with you, sir, since you represent an opposition party, the TMC, that has come out to support the bill. The fact is this, that whatever else may be said by opposition parties about the manner in which the bill was brought in at the last minute, all of that is mere technicality. The fact is that this bill and the kind of votes that it is receiving on the floor of the House after its passage is something that the Modi government has brought in, forcing opposition parties to come out and support, because very clearly no political party can be seen speaking out for a quota that is essentially for the poorest sections of society.
See, as always, just before the elections, the Prime Minister, Mr. Modi, is again with a new political gimmick. The reservation for the poor, as declared by Mr. Modi, is nothing but one of the fake promises like we have witnessed before the past 4.5 years. Let me clear it. It's a similar kind repetition like demonetization and bringing back Indian wealth, draining and check to that money. This declaration of reservation for poor is another way. It comes with, am I to believe this, that because neither Modi government have time, neither they have the number. It comes with a logic, as this case and many more of, we need a number of statistics and counting which are absolutely missing, and this way, so we stand clueless to accept the entire strategy.
Your time's up. Rahul, I will counter every one of those points, but I want to give all our guests a chance first. Athar.
Yes, Rahul, your time is up. I will quickly go across to Amit Malviya and quote Indira Sahni versus the Union of India judgment 1992. Amit, I'm not going to take too much of your time. It said that a backward class cannot be determined only and exclusively with reference to economic criterion. It may be a consideration or basis along with and in addition to social backwardness, but it can never be the sole criterion. This is the view uniformly taken by this court, and that is the judgment. Now, by giving the privileged class or the forward caste in that particular parlance, and by couching it in economic theory, exactly who is the government trying to fool here, sir? Respectfully, I submit that to you.
Well, first of all, Athar, I think this is a historic day when for the first time there is a government in office that is looking at every section of the society with a very sensitive view. And this is exactly what this 10% reservation purely on economic criteria for those who have for very many years not been able to pull themselves out from the mire of poverty that they have been in. The Brahmins, the Kshatriya, the Bhumiyar, the Kayas, the Patels, Gujars and Jats in certain areas, Marathas, all these people, irrespective of what you call as privileged background, do have a sizable number of people who are very, very poor, who have not been able to break the vicious cycle of poverty and come out. This reservation of 10% for these general categories.
All right, Amit, your time is up. We will come back to you for more on this debate, but I want to take this question across to Ashutosh Mishra. Ashutosh Mishra, you would have seen the debate today, and one of the points that was referred to by Finance Minister Arun Jaitley is the fact that this very promise of making a quota for the economically backwards has been part of the manifesto of the Congress party. There have been attempts that have been made in the past as well, but no one has been able to execute it with a constitutional amendment in the manner that this government currently has done. So this very clearly has put the opposition parties in a huge spot, because A, not only of course will this have a huge political impact, as of course has been speculated and has been talked about, but B, also the fact that the resolve of this government is now evident for all to see.
What has happened today is that Modi government has been exposed. It's a case of sabka upahas. They are mocking the intelligence of all the upper castes. They are mocking the intelligence of poor. Because if they were even half as serious as they are trying to look today, they would have done it the year they were came into power. Because every party is supporting it. It's a borrowed idea from Congress. So where is the originality? What was happening here was Modi government was trying to lay a trap. They thought that the opposition will oppose it, and as usual they will paint the opposition as villain and claim martyrhood and try to tell the voters that हम तो आपका भला करना चाहते थे, लेकिन विपक्ष ने साथ नहीं दिया. But today they have been called out, and now they are in a catch-22 position. Because every upper caste will ask them, why didn't you do it 5 years ago?
Well, Ashutosh, I will only say the proof of the pudding is in the eating, and the bill has been passed, but I won't get into the debate just yet.
The bill has passed, and slightly going off protocol here, I will say all the political parties have exposed themselves today. The Congress, even Mayawati for that matter. I am not political tonight because I truly believe this is political, nothing else. Shubhrashtra, my question to you and my submission to you is this. Fine. There are economically weaker sections in upper caste in India as well, I'll give you that. But unless I get empirical data on exactly how many families and who all, I'll still remain a skeptic. That's okay. My question is this. Even if the economically weaker sections of these upper castes need the reservation, can there be a comparison between the historically disenfranchised OBCs, Dalits and other lower castes? Have upper castes in India ever been under social oppression? Have they been discriminated against ever in this country? There is no comparison. The social oppression the lower castes and the so-called backward castes have felt for centuries, not just years or decades. How can you then claim that we need to take care of this section first before actual justice is meted out to those who are historically disenfranchised in India? Subhrashtra.
Thank you, Athar, for that very seminal question. I think the bill that is in place today does not take away from the Dalits and the other backward castes the reservation, the positive discrimination of reservation that was meted out, that has been meted out to them historically under the guidelines and under the vision of Baba Sahib Ambedkar. Now, what did Baba Sahib Ambedkar say then? In the then parliament, the Baba Sahib Ambedkar said that positive discrimination and affirmative action is needed so that the Dalits and the OBCs get assimilated in the larger scenario that we face. And what did Dakshini Velayudhan say? Dakshini Velayudhan was the first Dalit woman in the parliament, Athar. She was the only Dalit woman in the parliament. What did she say? She stood up against Baba Sahib Ambedkar. She was not pro-reservation. What she said is what the Modi government is doing today. However, I take into account your argument and I agree that socially and historically there have been sections of population who have been, marginalized, and they need to be taken care of. Okay. And kudos to the Modi government that it has not taken away the benefits from the Dalits.
Oh, your time is up. Okay. All right.
Empower.
Yes. Shubhrashtra, I want to take off from there. I want to take off from what you said and put that question across to Ashutosh Mishra. Ashutosh Mishra, two very important points. A, this government is not diluting the 50% odd quota or somewhere in the ballpark, 49% quota, which already exists for SCs, STs and OBCs. What they are saying though is that there would be another 10% quota for those who are economically deprived. Now, you have said and come out and said that the government stands exposed today. But if the government was exposed as you claimed, Ashutosh, why is it that virtually every political party cutting across the spectrum from the left to the Congress, from the NCP, all political parties came out to support this bill? So where are they exposed, Ashutosh? What there is, in fact, is an overwhelming, resounding belief in in the bill that the government has actually tabled today.
I'll answer that, but Ashutosh can go first.
Ashutosh.
Madhva. So what's happening today is that, as Mr. Jaitley pointed out, that it was a part of the manifesto of Congress also. So there is, if the BJP was serious about this, they could have taken this up 5 years ago. Now they know that in the courts,
but sir, with due respect, that's a rhetorical argument. One can also say if the Congress was serious about it, they could have done it during 10 years of UPA. Did we see a constitutional amendment like this come up during UPA government?
Why didn't they try it 5 years?
Isn't that a rhetorical argument, Ashutosh?
No, it's not. If you just listen to me, let me finish my argument. Then, if they had done this 5 years ago and it had fallen flat in the courts, then they would have been embarrassed. Now they know that their term is coming to an end.
Okay.
Okay, let's get a response. I want a quick response from Amit before you...
Can I please respond to
this?
Yes,
Shubhrashtra, you can respond. I have a question for Amit later. I have a specific question for Shubhrashtra. You can rebut that.
Yeah.
Yes, respond to what Ashutosh has said, Shubhrashtra. Go ahead.
What Mr. Ashutosh is saying is that because... Yeah, that because the... No, Amit ji, please go ahead. Amit ji, please go ahead.
I have a specific question for Amit. Shubhrashtra, you can rebut Ashutosh. I'll ask Amit the question. If you're okay with that.
All right. In fact, Shubhrashtra, please take that question from where Ashutosh left off, and then there's a specific question coming in from Athar. Go ahead, Shubhrashtra.
Yes, so I think what Mr. Ashutosh is saying is that the Congress brought in this manifesto but couldn't fulfill it. The BJP is fulfilling it. So, in fact, Mr. Ashutosh, don't you think this completely aligns with Mr. Modi's vision of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas? He's so generous in his opinions that he even takes up something which the Congress manifesto puts out. So, actually, the anti-Modi camp should actually ally with the BJP, ally with Mr. Modi's vision and say that this is what Mr. Modi has done. In fact, yesterday, Athar and Madhav, on your particular channel, a CPI activist said that, you know, the Garib Gurbas and the Congress and the Kisans are actually coming on the streets to protest against some discriminatory policies of the Modi government, and this policy is being brought in the wake of that movement. So actually, kudos to the Modi government that before any social unrest and a movement could brew up,
and that take comprises of the fact that there was a strategic meeting headed by the Prime Minister. The Cabinet cleared, remember, on Monday this decision, after 3 big state losses, there was an impression being created that the upper caste that traditionally formed the base, along with the other upper castes of the BJP, were perhaps drifting away. They had to do something. That's why I called it a Hail Mary pass in the beginning. Now, I want to ask Amit Malviya, is it also not a problem then, Amit Malviya, if you're presenting this perhaps as a measure to allay the problems of people who are looking for jobs in these economically weaker section of upper castes? How many jobs are you going to provide them? There are vacancies in the government, sir, in public sector jobs, I'll give you that. But there have been no jobs created. Is this a tacit admission that we couldn't create jobs for you, so we'll have to resort to reservation? Because when it's caste-based reservation, right-wing ideologues come and say, oh, this is killing merit. Nobody has said a squeak, whether in parliament or otherwise, about this killing merit.
Well, just a couple of points, particularly on what Mr. Mishra said. He contradicts himself, where on the one side he says that the Congress put it in its manifesto, on the other side he says the Supreme Court is going to strike it down. Let me tell you, for your viewers, this is a constitutional amendment, and therefore the Supreme Court will have to look at the amended constitution and then test this, which will not be a hindrance. Point number 2 is that it is your hypothesis that there aren't enough jobs out there. I have been repeatedly saying on your program and on several other programs that this government has created an ecosystem of jobs which go beyond what is supposedly done by any government. There have been 13 crore mudra loans that itself has created so many
public sector units and public sector jobs.
Well,
you have not created any new public sector jobs.
I'm coming to that.
Have you created new public sector jobs? If you have, please educate me, sir.
I am not for a minute taking the argument down to where you want it to go. I am telling you exactly how the ecosystem is stacked. The fact remains that there are people in the upper caste who are economically weak, although talented, but they need the state support to get in there, get into these government jobs and sort of improve their lot. And that is the whole idea of reservation, whether it is for the Dalits or it's for the OBCs or it is now for the economically
coming from a historical perspective, the Dalits needed that, sir. The upper caste traditionally in this country have never needed it. They were never discriminated against. They never faced untouchability. They were never socially oppressed or backward.
Athar, that is because you believed that the social criteria that was put out is cast and die. Here is a government which is telling you that given the new economic and social landscape of this country, there is a vast number of people who today may be from the upper caste but do need the state support to come out of the vicious poverty that they are in. And that is a reality. Have you not
Rahul Chakrabarty's hand is going up.
In your comic books, which all start
Yes,
with
the definition of who needs reservation
now.
really, of course, is what Amit Malviya is talking about. And Rahul Chakrabarty, I just want to repeat what has been said in the past. No one's taking away from the quotas that exist already for the scheduled castes, for the scheduled tribes, for the OBCs. What is only being added is a 10%, and that too for those individuals who do not form, who are not economically forward, who are economically backward, and that is a massive segment that in fact requires some kind of social change or a hand or this reservation which will help them to improve their lives. What's wrong with that, Rahul Chakrabarty?
See, there is nothing wrong in this, but one thing I want to make it a clear point, that what is the benefit of this discussion? If it is only a promise, if it is only a jumla, then what is the point of discussion? Because let me clear it and let me ask a question: how can they make it? If this is a promise, how can they make it? Because neither they have that majority, neither they have that time.
Sir, it has been passed by the Lok Sabha.
If it is only
Mr. Chakrabarty, it's been passed by the Lok Sabha, sir.
So
are you not watching it live on television? It has already been passed by the Lok Sabha and it is expected to come up before the Rajya Sabha. Just as the entire opposition, including your own party, has supported this very bill, I am surprised that you are questioning this bill here on national television.
I think he's questioning the motive and the timing of the bill itself.
Let me clear my points.
He just said you don't have the numbers.
Let me clear my points. See, this is the
Madhav.
See, this is the thing.
Madhav.
It is of course we welcome this. If it's for the poor. Hello.
Yes. Finish your point, Mr. Chakrabarty. Then a quick response and we need to wrap.
So this is the thing that either
one point I would like
this
to make,
will either this will truly.
Excuse me.
All right, I'll come to Rahul in just a bit. Rahul, we have completely run out of time, but I believe Shubrashta wants to make a last point. And Amit, if we have time, we'll come to you. Shubrashta, not more than 30 seconds, please. Shubrashta, go ahead.
Yes, yes, sure. I think this entire argument about this entire move being a political gimmick and this being done in the election season is absolutely, I think in my opinion, it's absolutely nonsensical, because political parties are in the business of doing politics. And even if it is a politically savvy move, I think
I think it's a very politically savvy move. I'm not disputing that at all, Shubrashta.
By the horn.
I think it's extremely savvy. I think it's perhaps a game changer. It takes the rug underneath the feet of the opposition and it cements the position of Mr. Modi as perhaps the most astute politician in this country today.
And political parties are not in the business of social service alone.
Make false promises to win elections.
Okay,
that's what they were told during the last elections.
Okay, 10 seconds.
I'm sorry.
Quick 10 seconds to Amit Malviya before we wrap. Amit, very quick 10 seconds. One quick sentence, please. Yes, and then we have to wrap.
Very quickly. On the timing issue, let me tell you that this is not a politically expedient move. If you recollect and you go and look back, somewhere in July of 2017, this news was flashed across television channels and newspapers. But nobody thought that it was serious enough to be pursued.
I think Shubrashta was absolutely right when she said that politicians and political parties will play politics. I think I and Shubrashta agree on that. Madhav, we are out of time.
Well, completely out of time. Rahul Chakrabarty, Ashutosh, as well as Amit and Shubrashta, thanks so much for joining us. The bill has been passed by the Lok Sabha. What's going to take place in the Rajya Sabha on the floor of the House? Will it pass with as much ease? That's what we'll all be watching out for. Thanks so much for joining Arthur and me on The Clash this evening.
Thanks for watching.